Some things only make sense if you tell a story about them. If you try to explain a concept like mercy, it sounds kind of dry. But a story can paint the picture. I was talking with a woman, now in her 70s, who has a memory from being a Catholic schoolgirl. She said that back in those days, in the late 60s, she was a follower. She said, I wasn't a leader. She said, I had low self-esteem, and I just wanted to be accepted. And so I would do whatever the crowd wanted to do. She told me that one day after school, all the girls went downtown, and they were shopping back in the days when there were big department stores to go to. And she tried on a sweater that was just beautiful. And everyone went, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That looks so good on you. She looked at the price tag and it was $40. And this was in 1968. You can't afford a $40 sweater in those days. It's crazy. But they said, just put it in your bag. Just take it. That's so overpriced. They've built that into the price. Just take it. And she did, because she was a follower. But she was consumed with guilt. She couldn't bear it. She couldn't sleep. She thought, where am I even going to wear this sweater? People are going to say, where'd you get the new sweater? And the worst part was, she really thought, I'm going to go to hell for this. I've just given away paradise for this lousy sweater. She felt just so desperately sad. One of the sisters of St. Joseph could tell that something was wrong, so at school the next day, she asked her, and who knows why the girl confessed, but she did. She just couldn't bear it. And that sister of St. Joseph went down to the department store and paid $40. That's mercy. That's all we need to know about mercy. That sister could have done a million different things to handle that situation. She could have brought her down there by the ear. She could have called her parents, and back in those days, you know how that would have gone. She didn't. She went and paid the $40. The woman told me that happened over 50 years ago. But she said, I think I learned more about God from that than anything else in my life. Mercy is what changes people's hearts. Mercy is not for innocent people. It's for guilty people. That's what makes it mercy. If you didn't do the thing that you were in trouble for, then nobody could show you mercy. Mercy's for the guilty. Mercy's for those who have messed up. And that's all of us in one thing or another. All of us are guilty of something, not all the same thing. But mercy is what makes life bearable for all of us. You've heard the saying, to err is human, to forgive is divine. And if you've ever seen someone forgive something that feels unforgivable, you know that feeling of like, this isn't even something that should be possible. This person, they're doing something supernatural, forgiving the unforgivable. The same thing is true with mercy. The math doesn't add up. It's when you choose to let someone off the hook. And the great thing is, all of us can do it, because all we have to do is pick someone in our life that is being judged by us or someone else. Pick anyone who's being judged. That's the low-hanging fruit for mercy. I was recently with some parishioners, and we had a conversation about a priest that a lot of them knew really well. And the things they had to say about him were not good. One of them said, oh my gosh, he's so grouchy. Another one said, he yelled at my granddaughter and made her cry. Another one said, he is so negative every time I run into him. And one of the women there said, I know, but have mercy on him. He's so overworked. And it changed the feeling in the room immediately. She wasn't saying, that's not true. He's not like that. She just said, his life is hard. Let's have mercy. And everything was different. Not all of us have as big a problem with judgment as some of us do. Some people wrestle with that more than others. But all of us judge. If you say, not me, I really don't, well then, I guess you don't drive. See what I mean? We all judge each other. We all do it. And the gospel today is a story about Jesus not judging Thomas. I mean, from Jesus' perspective, this could be a deal breaker. He could be like, you know what, Thomas? I'm sorry. But at this point, you're really not a good apostle. You're not what I'm looking for. Go hang out with Judas. I don't know why I thought that you guys would be really good on my team. But he doesn't do that. He says, Thomas, I know you're having a hard time. Here, what do you need? What can I do to help? He didn't judge him. He showed mercy to him. One of the best things about mercy is you don't need to change the circumstances of what you're going through to apply it. You just start applying it right now. You don't need things to be different. You approach the situation the way it is. You know how some people say, well, I will forgive. I'm a forgiving person as long as the person admits that they did it wrong and says it 10 times and grovels, right? And mercy isn't like that. Mercy is you're guilty and I'm not going to throw the book at you. Further, it says, I know that you're more than one bad choice. I know that you're more than the worst thing you've ever done. I'm not going to hold you accountable for a low moment in your life when there's so many other moments in your life. It says all of us have bad times. When we get to a certain age, some of us would say, I even had a bad decade. Mercy says, I'm not going to judge you by your worst decade. I'm not going to judge you by the worst period in your life. The thing about mercy is it also lets us off the hook in a couple of ways. One of the things it does is it makes it easier for people to not judge us. If we don't judge other people, they're going to have a hard time judging us later. If we showed someone mercy, they're going to want to show us mercy too because it feels good. But we know what it's like when someone's high and mighty. We love to say, oh, there we go. But when someone's merciful, it feels right to be gentle with them too. But it also helps us when our judgments are off. I have a friend who works in the finance industry, and she told me that there was a really stressful season at her work, and she was working long hours, and the stress was terrible, and so she decided to treat herself to a 90-minute massage at this spa. And it was great, she said. But when it was ending, the massage therapist said, okay, so we're done for today. If you want to meet me in the hallway and I'll have a glass of water for you. And she looked at the clock and the massage was 13 minutes short. She said, this wasn't 90 minutes. This is short. And she was kind of hemming and hawing. Do I say something? And then she thought, well, I do feel really good. She did a really good job. Maybe it's enough. Maybe it's fine. So she landed on that and she went out there. And she went to the desk to pay her bill, and they had charged her for a 60-minute massage. She had gotten 17 minutes for free. Can you imagine if she had sounded off before she realized that? What's wrong with you people? You can't count? No. She didn't have to eat crow because she didn't react like that. She showed mercy and realized that she had been given grace. Because grace is when we get things we don't deserve, like 17 free minutes. And mercy is when we don't get what we do deserve. That's why it's good for everybody to take a book this week. This is the week that we want everybody, whether you're in a small group or not, to grab one of these books from in the back of the church. Because the topic we're going to be reading about this week, and then that is covered in the discussion guide, is getting to know Jesus, the real Jesus. And you can't know Jesus without understanding mercy. There's no way to understand what Jesus is all about if we don't understand mercy. Because that's what he shows all the time. That's what Easter's all about. That's what his mission of coming to earth was all about. To be kind to people who didn't deserve it, but who he loved anyway. Let's see if we can get to know him better and get to be somebody known as one of his friends, so that it's natural for us when we see someone who's worthy of judgment to instead give them a generous assumption and show them a taste of God's divine mercy.